welcome to Walking Wartime. Today we're in Bottisham to see the 361st Fighter Group. Let's go check it out. Opened in March 1940 to the RAF, Bottisham was first home to a group using de Havilland Tiger Moths prepped with bombs from an RAF training school. From 1942 to early 1943, Bottisham would very briefly be home to various RAF squadrons, such as 652, 168, 2, 4, 169 and various others, before seeing the arrival of the United States Army Air Forces. The 361st Fighter Group activated on the 10th of February 1943 at Richmond Army Base in Virginia and began training in Maryland and New Jersey, before sailing out to England on the 23rd of November 1943 on RMS Queen Elizabeth and arriving in Bottisham on the 30th of November. The group would fly their first combat mission on the 21st of January 1944. They would be the last group of the 8th Air Force to use P-47 Thunderbolts. Due to the heaviness of the P-47, this made for a difficult takeoff on wet runways. The runway was changed during January 1944 and took American engineers 3 days to construct a 4,410 foot long runway with pierced steel planking, which for the time would be a record for laying this type of prefabricated surfacing. The runway facing northeast-southwest became the main of Bottisham, but later the group would convert to P-51 Mustangs in 1944. The 361st Fighter Group, better known as the Yellow Jackets for their yellow painted noses, were made up of 3 squadrons: the 374th, the 375th, and the 376th. The group primarily served as a fighter escort for the B-17 Flying Fortresses and the consolidated B-24 Liberators on bombing runs. They would also take part in counter-air patrols, fighter sweeps and dive bombing missions. Also taking part in missions against the Luftwaffe during Big Week, 20th to the 25th of February 1944. They would also attack on transportation facilities prior to the Normandy invasion and support the breakout at St. Lo in July 1944. The 361st was home to the infamous P-51 Mustang Ferocious Frankie, flown by pilots Glenn L. Fielding, Wallace E. Hopkins and Colin J. Mayhew. The P-51 would boast 8 Nazi kills. She would appear in blockbuster films such as Empire of the Sun, Heart's War, Memphis Belle, Saving Private Ryan and Fury. Ferocious Frankie would reside at Duxford until 2017, where she was sold to the Air and Space Museum in Turkey. Notable pilots such as Major George L. Merritt Jr., the beloved squadron leader and top fighter pilot. On the 7th of June 1944, he took off from Bottisham Airfield in his P-51 Mustang 42106835 on a mission for area support in the Angers region of France. The flight strafed a convoy of trucks, including a gasoline trailer which was set on fire and another being badly damaged. Unfortunately, he was shot down by enemy fighters and crashed at Le Chat-Pen near Roif, 12 miles south of Saumur, France. The other was Colonel Thomas J.J. Christian Jr. Christian, the great-grandson of Stonewall Jackson, the Confederate commander during the American Civil War. On completion of pilot training in 1940, he was assigned as an instructor at Randolph Field in Texas. He was transferred to the 9th Bombardment Group at Clark Field in the Philippines, where he flew B-18s and B-17s. After the attack on Pearl Harbor and the bombing of Clark Field, he was reassigned to Bataan and then Australia, before being shot down and was declared missing in action. He was able to return to base from the jungles near Timor Coast from the help of the natives. By May 1942, he was assigned to the 67th Pursuit Squadron and was the first US Army Air Corps pilot to land on Guadalcanal on the 15th of August 1942. He flew more than 60 hours of combat missions and was awarded the Silver Star for gallantry. When he returned to the States, he formed and trained the 361st Fighter Group as a major and took them to RAF Bottisham. Whilst overseas, he became a father and named his P-51 after his daughter, one side saying Lou 4 and the other with Athaline. During his tour, he flew more than 70 combat missions and was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Air Medal with 3 Oak Leaf Clusters, and the Purple Heart. By March 1944, he had been promoted to colonel at age 28. Unfortunately, on the 12th of August 1944, he was killed in action on a bombing mission near Arras, France. He was believed to be buried in Arras-Farbug-d'Amiens British Cemetery, but his grave was never located. This group of little friends fought valiantly against the Luftwaffe and came out on top. They protected their bombers and made sure they made it home. They valued their leaders and they rose to the call of duty. At the end of the day, they said, "We stand ready."